couple weeks ago during our Singles Awareness Week, I was honored to catch up with the lovely Al Roker. I love him so much, and we both like to talk, so we talked a lot. And not all of it could fit into that show, so today I present to you a Kelly Extra, footage we've never shown before. Here's Al and me nerding out about being nerds. Like I said earlier, it's Singles Awareness Week, and you've been married to Deborah for 25 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But what were you like as a single guy?
I was pretty pathetic. Look, I was like, I'm like comic book guy, you know.
That's not pathetic.
Well, but you don't see a lot of comic book guys with dates, you know. And I know that may be generalization. Look, I was in high school. I was on the AV squad. You know, there weren't a lot of women, high school girls who said, you know what, I want to date a guy who can thread a projector. You know, it just wasn't happening.
My first job was at a movie theater, and I always wanted to work projection. There were only guys up there, and they got to thread the film, and I thought it was cool to be able to splice film or whatever, so I worked my way in there. I wasn't supposed to. Sorry, district manager, but I'm telling you now, I did. And I went up there, and I got to splice it together, and I found that really interesting. But this is coming from a person that, you know, plays Scrabble and reads books and does things that are super exciting.
See, I do the same. Scrabble,
Yeah.
Growing up, Scrabble, very big in our household.
Me too.
In fact, my mother, you couldn't make letters less than 3 letters. You couldn't make words with less than 3 letters.
My mother
that was her.
She hates it. When you use QI, like she gets so mad at my sister, and she's like, oh, if you're gonna cheat. Like, she gets so mad about it. But anyway, and I actually learned how to spell with my mother, like using Scrabble. She was a huge person into that as well, and reading. She's an avid reader. But anyway, I was kind of nerdy too, but here's my thing. There are nerds out there. So, you know, we just date nerds.
Yeah.
It's fine. We had common interests. But tell me about one of your first dates, though, with Deborah. What was that like?
You know, it was funny. You know, we were in that quote friend zone. We were friends. And she said, "Oh, you know, let's not ruin that friendship." You know, and she had gone out. She was covering an event for a couple of weeks and asked me to, you know, keep an eye on her apartment. So I did, and I had to snoop around. I was in the kitchen, and I opened up the fridge. And there's nothing. She's in the background right now yelling about this. There's nothing in the fridge, like some old cheese, a bottle of Grey Poupon mustard. That's about it. I open up the oven, expecting to see a mess. She still had, it was a new oven, I guess, when she had moved in. The cardboard was still on the oven grates. I thought, this woman's never used this oven. This is insane. So a day before she got back from her trip, I stocked her pantry, I stocked her refrigerator, and left some flowers on the table and a note, welcome home. And then I got my first date with her a week later.
I'm like, that's a nice entrance, sir. If I come home to I wasn't far from Deborah, by the way. And by the way, you add some wine to that cheese, a little Greek prawn, some crackers. It's a nice charcuterie board, whatever. It's fine. It's a meal for some people, Al. But that's awesome. That was smooth. You're smooth. You're a nerd, but smooth nerd. I'm just saying. So how do you guys? This is a real question. How do you guys handle disagreements as a couple? Because it happens. Even when you love each other, you disagree on big and small things. So how have y'all, 25 years, you're nailing it. So how are you doing it?
Well, you know, the reason I'm nailing it is because of Deborah. Because the fact is, I pout, you know, I kind of sulk, and, you know, and finally, you know, I say, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong, you know, I'm fine. And then she draws it out of me, and we talk, and eventually we do talk it out. But, you know, I'm very sensitive, you know, it's like, I literally, Deborah's mom had a saying, your feelings are as light as a feather. You know, and I'm very thin-skinned. You know, I'm a bit of a baby.
I guess then what you're saying is yin and yang really does work in a relationship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because the kids know, like Leela, our middle girl, will say, "Mom, give Dad a break. He has so little to live for." Yeah.
Oh my God. That is like, what just happened? I I need to have a talk with her about feelings and the fact that you have them. It's like, I literally will look at my kids, man, they could be so mean. And I will look at my daughter straight in the face and I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm about to cry. That's mean. Catch Al Roker every morning on the Today Show on NBC. Want more fun stuff? I thought so. Check out these videos floating around my head. This one is really cool. I'm just saying. No pressure.